I'm here to be an all-time great.
You now rocking with the best.
Purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow.
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles.
Welcome to the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Oh, he's smoking hot.
The latest Laker news.
Another great Showtime feed.
The greatest Lakers show.
This is going to be legendary for a long time.
This is the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Lakers all day.
Go Lakers!
What's good, everybody? It's Big Baby here from Big Baby Sports. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications for each and every podcast, pregame show, and more, man. Got a special guest, Chris McGee from Special Sportsnet, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, man. Thank you for coming on Big Baby Sports.
All right, what's up, brother? I'm happy to be here, and I'm Geeter, and I'm listening to Big Baby Sports. What's up, man?
Man, let's get into it, man. So we're gonna break down me touring the studio, man. So tell the people that didn't see the video, man, like
That is the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
So you and your brother Anthony
mm-hmm.
came to the studio, and this has been I think a long time coming. You and I've corresponded back and forth for years. First on Twitter and through our shows, and then on social media, Instagram and stuff. The timing was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You've put in a lot of work. I know you're interested in, becoming a member of the media. And put a lot of time in, a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
It was time for you to come in and see the show. So thank you for driving the 2 hours. And it was cool because you guys ended up staying a lot longer than most, which was pretty awesome. You stayed the whole game, got to see the post-game show, pregame, halftime, chop it up with everybody. We had a good time. Lakers won, which makes it a lot better, right? So it was a good time, man. But it was great having you and your brother in there. A couple of highlights. I loved it when your brother Anthony walked in with the camera, and you can look this up on your social media. And Big Game just started lighting him up, and that's what Big Game does. And your brother was at first like, whoa, and then Big Game's like, nah, I'm just playing with you. But it's pretty funny because he came in recording, and James was like, you came in, you're recording this, and it was so funny. So it was a great little start to the night, and everyone loved having you there, man. And obviously you're a huge Laker fan, like me, so we've always bonded over that. So it was special having you there, man. It was cool.
Thank you for having me on over there. It was a great experience. My favorite highlight was getting interviewed by James Worthy. I didn't expect James Worthy to interview me. I was trying to get a little interview with him before everything was over and stuff. But when he pulled me aside in an interview, I'm like, oh, okay, never got that happen to me before. So it was kind of cool and all that. And also, like you said, the James Worthy one with my brother, that was hilarious. I like that one. That was hilarious.
I think the beauty of James and all the guys that work with us, I believe you had Fish that night as well.
Yeah.
But Rob and Byron, Meta, whomever. But James, he's there every night on game night, and it's unscripted. You didn't know he was going to do that because it wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the coolest part about it. If I'm you, I feel real good about that. That's definitely would be one of my highlights if I were you.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, like, listen, I'm a lot older than you. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on the Showtime Lakers. I was a kid during that era, all the way from, elementary school through high school in those 10 years, and into college. So for me, like, it doesn't get lost on me that I sit next to Big Game and Byron, guys that I watched when I was 10 to 18 years old. Rob, who, I was late 20s, early 30s back when Kobe and Shaq and Rob were starting to win titles. And, I was just a fan in those days. I was getting into the business, but I didn't working for the Lakers was a pipe dream at that. It wasn't even a dream at that point. So for me to now, be good friends with Rob and Fish, I consider them dear friends of mine is super cool. So it doesn't get lost on me that, all the people that I grew up with, just like you, I'm sure when your friends that have been with you since day one, the day oneers, when they saw that video of you, they probably knew how special that was.
Mm-hmm.
And it fired them up. You'd be shocked, Big Baby, at how many people in my life, because listen, I'm a SoCal guy. I've lived here 52 years.
Mm-hmm.
From the Valley to Hermosa Beach is all I've ever been, is that 20-mile stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people in all walks of life. And I think for the people that knew me from the beginning, it's such a trip for them to see me have this job. So it's pretty fun. I run into people from high school or elementary school, people I played Little League with, high school hoops with, and college volleyball, whatever. Like, all those people still be like, man, I can't believe you have this job. That's always what that's always who we thought you'd be. And I was like, really? Because I had no clue. So I know how special that was for you, because it doesn't get lost on me how special it is for me.
Yeah, man, that was a special moment for me. And when I was a kid, like 5 years old, I wrote down in my notepad, I'm gonna be a sports analyst.
That's cool.
And my mom was like, "You're gonna do it," and here I am. And
Here you are.
I love what I do. At first, 2016 was kind of, nervous and stuff, but it comes with the territory, And
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be human if you weren't nervous, brother.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just part of the job, right? Like, you get more comfortable, obviously, the more reps you get. And that's in anything, man. That's if you're playing sports, the more times you're in those big moments, the better you'll be. It doesn't mean you're always going to play great. Still look at the professional players that we cover, right? Yeah. Sometimes they have great nights, sometimes they have bad nights, but you keep going. But yeah, man, it's funny. I didn't have any dreams of being in broadcasting. I think when I was younger, I thought I was going to play for the Lakers, the Chargers, or the Rams, depending on when they left us. When I was a little kid, it was the Rams, and I turned into a Chargers fan.
Yeah.
And then the Dodgers. I thought I was going to play 3 professional sports. And then as I got older, I learned that was not going to be the case. So, the fact that I now, sit at that desk and literally cover my favorite all-time team for a living, when it's over, whenever that day comes, man, I'll look back and know it was a hell of a ride.
Yeah, man. And you guys inspired me to keep going,
That's cool.
James Worthy, Derek Fisher, Ali Clifford, everybody at Spectrum Sportsnet inspired me to keep going. Even Dave Miller, Jamie Maggio, and all them.
All the OGs.
Yeah, all the OGs. Yeah, they inspired me to keep going, And because when I first started this journey, I had a notebook. I had to go to my storage and get it. I had lists of people I wanted on my show. You're one of them. Byron Scott, Mike Trudell, Jeannie Buss, and even Kobe Bryant.
That's cool.
Yeah, even the late great Kobe. So I crossed all them off, and
that's awesome.
I'm almost there, and I also have Shaq too, Lamar Odom. So I got even D-Fish on the list. Even Derek Fisher's on the list too.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. I always try to instill that in my kids. Have goals, and those goals are between you and you only. You write them down. I used to write them down. I don't know what kids do today. Maybe they put it in their notes in their phone. But I used to write it down too. And like you said, man, the fact that you're crossing names off the list means you're achieving your goals. Yeah. So that's super cool.
Yeah, man, it's cool, and I'm looking forward to more historic for Big Baby, man. And
love it.
Very passionate what I do. And now let's get into some Lakers, man. Lakers are 11 games over 500 and still.
Hold on. If we're going to start with the Lakers, we got to throw props out to Michael Cooper. Coop, who's been on our shows back in the day. Coop, who was the Minister of Defense, as Big Game James will call him. Michael Cooper should have been in the Hall of Fame years and years ago, but so many times in our sports culture, we don't value that side of the ball or the field. Actually, in football, they do. But I feel like in baseball, it's all about offensive numbers. In hoops, it's all about offensive numbers. When I think it should be about winning, and it should be about team basketball, it should be about defending or being an offensive guy, depending on what you're great at. Cooper was the best defender of his generation. So if you're the best at something in your generation, whether it's shooting, you're in the Hall of Fame. So for Coop, who has 5 rings, was the best defensive player probably in Laker history, or up there in the top 2 or 3. For him to go into the Hall of Fame, I know how much it means to his friends. So I want to give props to Coop before we get into the Lakers.
Shout out to Michael Cooper, man. Shout out to you, man. But yeah, man, like I said, Lakers are 11 games over 500 and still in 9th spot. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it's just like, where do you think they're going to finish? Do you think they're going to finish in the 9th or the 6th?
Man. So I don't even, to be honest with you, Big Baby, I may have told you this when we were hanging out, but I don't even think about 6 right now, because I closed that window a little while back. I think 6 is asking too much. Obviously, it was an original goal, and mathematically, it's still possible. But to leapfrog over 8, 7, 3 more teams is hard, because you're not playing Dallas head to head. You're not playing the Suns head to head. But you do have now that this Dallas has moved into 5. I mean, it's possible, but here's where I have a wrinkle in it. Number one, for 6 to be possible, the Lakers have to go 6-0. And I would have, 5-0. I would have to look at Trudell's little breakdown that he does every day, which I had been looking at, but I haven't looked at it today. But remember, the Suns and Kings play each other. The Pelicans play the Suns and the Kings. So one of them's going to be winning that game.
Yeah.
So hard to leapfrog over all of them for 6. That was kind of a roundabout way of me saying I'm more focused on 7-8. I think it's possible. I think it's absolutely doable. You 100% have to go 4-1 or 5-0. And considering they already won 8 of 9, man, that's a pretty damn good stretch. So if they can go 4-1 and Pelicans lose, Kings lose tonight. So if you can get the Kings to lose tonight to Boston, when you and I are recording this, the Kings are playing Boston tonight.
Yeah.
So us rooting for Boston is really weird, but we're going to do it anyway, because that means we'd go into the final 5 games, Lakers and Kings tied. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kings have the tiebreaker. So that means we have to be better than them. We could go 4-1. And if you look at their schedule, 3-2 is absolutely something that can happen. So that way we could get into the 8th spot. Now to get into 7, you need the Pelicans to keep falling back. And that's possible.
Yeah.
They play the Kings, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Warriors. Kind of need them to lose all 4, big baby, which means there's one of your Kings wins. So if you can get the Pels to keep fading and the Kings to do what they're supposed to do and us go 4-1, 5-0, 7's available. I don't care, man. Put me in the 8. I don't give a rat's ass. Just put me in that 7-8 game, dude, because I want in that game. Because I don't want to go 9-10 versus the Warriors or whomever and then have to win another one on the road. And then possibly Denver. I just don't want that route. I mean, I'll take it, but I think the best clear path is in that 7-8 game, and I'm still hoping we can get there.
Yeah, me too, man. And I have the standings right here. Kings 44-32. If they lose tonight, they'll be 44-33, just like the Lakers.
Yep. Kings are 1 game behind the Lakers in the loss column. I always look at the loss column.
Loss column, yep.
And Kings lose tonight, you go into your final 5 tied.
Yep.
So at that point, you just have to do better than them. You have to have a better record because remember, they have the tiebreaker. We need them to lose tonight in Boston. Have to lose tonight.
Yep. Hopefully that happens. Also, all these games for the Lakers are like playoff implements too. You know, you can't. You know, for me, that's
listen, man. These games are tough games, bro. Like they've won 8 of 9. For them to go 5-1 on a road trip is crazy. The hardest game, I told you and your brother this. The hardest game for them is going to be that 12:30 game tomorrow against Cleveland. If people think that's going to be, they should just walk in and win that game. You just don't know much about the NBA. Like you go on a 6-game, 11-day trip, traveling all over, sleeping in different beds every single night. You come home and now you have an early start. Teams are always bad on that first game back from a long trip. It's just how it is in the NBA. I can't explain it. It's you get back to your house, you let down a little bit, you come in, you got to find your energy. It doesn't mean you lose. It doesn't mean you can't play great, but there is a type of, you have to kind of get going. So if they can win that Cavs game, I actually feel good about Minnesota. I mean, listen, Anthony Edwards, tough matchup for us, man. He's one of those guards that creates problems for us, but I'll take Minnesota 7:00 on the second night of a back-to-back with a chance to like take over the 8 seed. Let's do it. So for me, the big one is that Cavs game. Honestly, I think the most underrated game of the year, nobody's talking about it. Because realistically, Jonathan, the chances of us being in the 9-10 game are higher than 7 or 8. Doesn't mean it can't happen. That game with the Warriors is the game of the year. The Warriors won 6 in a row. They're right on our ass.
Yep,
right
they
there.
are.
What's up?
42 and 34.
6 in a row.
Yeah.
So you lose that game, you could be going on the road in the 10 spot as a team that's 12 games over 500. I mean, it's insane to think about, but the Tuesday game is big. Before I can even think about 7-8, because I truly believe, and I said this on our podcast, the Lake Show podcast yesterday for President Alec, we'll know come Tuesday if 7-8's realistic. We'll know. And if it's realistic, put the pedal down and let's go for it.
Yep.
If you're in that 9-10 game, win that game against the Warriors, sit some guys. Let's get ready for the next week. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Because, like you said, the Pelicans, they're struggling right now. Even Sacramento won a couple games. They're kind of up and down. But the Lakers, man, can hit a stride like last year, with the way we've been playing with AD, LeBron, Rui, Austin Reeves. Everybody on this Laker team is starting to find their niche together, you know? So, like you said, 7 spots of real possibility. But also, too, do you think LeBron's going to at least sit in one of these games? Because he's talking about his rest. Like he's focusing more on his health and the standings.
He is. I mean, because he has to. He knows his body better than anyone. He's 21 seasons in. He doesn't think like you, me, or the rest of the people like, oh my God, you have to play because you have to win every game. It's just not how he feels, right? He knows he can't just go out there and if his ankle's not right, it's not right. Or if he needs the proper rest to get ready for that next week, it'll be his decision. I think if he feels good, if the ankle's good, he'll play.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, he won't. That's what I've learned about LeBron. Like, because to him, the most important thing,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how all the great basketball players feel, and you might not like to hear it as a fan. The most important thing is if we're playing well in those games and he's healthy, then he's betting on himself and the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just going to come down to how he feels, man. I mean, he's been guys in his 21st season. He's playing at this insane level, and he plays every night.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he takes back-to-backs off. I thought he wouldn't play the other night in the second night of back-to-back. There he was.
Yep.
There he was. So
Yeah.
I've been wrong so many times.
Yeah, same.
When he's playing and when he's not, because it's his choice, his formula, and nobody has ever done it like that. So go ahead and do what you do, sir, and let us know if you're playing.
Yeah, it's all good. He's 20.
But here's the thing, big baby. Lakers can win without him now.
Yeah, we've done it before with
this isn't like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers can handle a game without LeBron James, and that gives him confidence and gives everyone else confidence.
Yeah, I noticed that too. D'Lo's, getting big shots. Anthony Davis doing this thing. Reeves too. I like Reeves. This year he's improved. But going into LeBron, speaking of LeBron, his son Bronny James entered the draft. How do you feel about him declaring for the draft?
Yeah, I feel good about it for him. I feel like he's keeping it open to go to college as well because he's in the portal. So I think, listen, he's a smart kid. What he went through last year, as a parent, I can't even imagine. So for him to be back on the basketball court is awesome. And I think look who his dad is and his family. They know the landscape. So he'll do his due diligence.
Yep.
He'll do his workouts, and he'll pick the best road for him. But I'm happy for him, man. This is probably I can imagine it's been a dream of his since the day he could start dreaming. So it's super cool.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's going to be interesting to see where Bronny James falls. And do you think just because Bronny James is entering the draft, you think it's going to impact LeBron for next year?
No. I don't think it impacts where LeBron goes or what LeBron does. I think LeBron will, at the end of the season, listen, can he still play at a high level? Yes, 1,000%. I've never seen it before like this at this age. It's defying all the things that I've ever seen. So if he is mentally ready for what it takes to go through an NBA season, he will play. And I can see that happening for a couple of years. Listen, people always ask me, where do you think LeBron goes? He's a Laker. He's going to be a Laker. So that's just me. I don't have inside information or anything. It's just for me. When LeBron's invested in this franchise, he's been in this franchise. He chose to come to this franchise. His family is here. So I think, I think LeBron, if he plays, it'll be right here. And only he knows, man, because people think like, things are, people already know. Like for LeBron, and I truly believe this, and I'm not speaking for him, it's just what I think. I was there last year, Game 4, Denver. And I was there when he gave it. It was almost like he was playing in his last ever game at the way he was trying to win that game against Denver.
Yeah.
It was insane. And then I was also at the press conference. And I remember listening to him, and it was the first time. And I told him this on Media Day. You can go on my Instagram, and you can look at it. It's the first thing I brought up to him on Media Day. It was the first time that I thought, it could end soon. Like he could walk away. He could retire. I never even had that thought. I remember when Kobe was going to do it. You never even had that thought of it happening. And you're like, wow, it is towards the end. So it takes a toll physically and especially mentally. So LeBron at the end of the season will have to, and he alone obviously talks to his family. Chris Paul knows close to him, but you know, he'll make the call.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And like you said, Game 4, that LeBron put everything on the line. Like he did everything he could.
Yeah,
and
sure.
after the game, when he was walking to the locker room, he looked exhausted. And I know
He was for sure.
that quote that Chris Haynes put out about LeBron considering retirement, I think at that moment, losing, getting swept, becoming so close to being done,
Yep.
everything was on his mind. So for him to think that, and then now he's saying he doesn't have much time left, I feel like he has, to me, probably 2 more years left. Or a year and a half left.
I don't know like your sports background or like coaching or whatever, but so I played sports my whole life, and then I coached for a long time. So when you go through seasons, and this is at a different level than what they go through.
Yeah.
And you put everything into a season, you're exhausted after, mentally and physically. But when you're younger, you're still going. There's never a doubt that you're still going. But as you get older, you see the finish line, and it's harder to put into it what you always have. For LeBron to be LeBron, just like for Kobe to be Kobe Bryant, you have to work a certain way. You have to stay on a certain clock. Tom Brady was the same way. And when you can't do that anymore, or you don't have the desire to do it 100%, those guys are so good that they can't ever imagine not being that. So, I mean, listen, I'll never forget. I gave everything I had my senior year of basketball. I grew up in the Valley, went to Presby High School, gave everything I had. Had a great year personally, individually, and I at the time I wanted to play college basketball. So I was going to put all those eggs in that basket. I also played volleyball, and I liked volleyball. It was fun. I loved it, loved my team. And, I started playing it when I was like a sophomore in high school, and it was just something to do after basketball because I had quit football and baseball at this point, and focus was hoops. I'll never forget, I was just gassed. I was just tired, and I went into his name's Kevin Slattum, and I actually mentioned him in a speech when I went into the High School Hall of Fame at Crespi, and because he gave me the best advice of all time. And if he hadn't given me that advice, I literally would not be sitting here talking to you because you would never know who I was, and I never would have gotten into this business. I told him, "Hey, coach, I think I'm going to quit. I think I'm going to not play volleyball this year. I'm tired, man. I'm tired, and I want to start just kind of focusing on basketball." And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, "Take a week off. Take a week off. All good. Take a week off. Come back. We'll talk." So cool of him. He didn't freak out. He didn't, he it's like he knew, because he obviously was an athlete himself and a coach and a teacher. He's a teacher at the school. Like he's an adult. He knew. He'd been through life experiences I hadn't yet. I was one day, big baby, of eating Oreos and chilling at home, which could go the other way. You could love that. I was bored out of my mind, bro. So I went back the next day and I'm like, "Coach, I'm back." I ended up completely going on a different path. Chose volleyball for college instead of hoops, which shocked my high school coach and my parents. And I was never I was never a big time volleyball player. I was a good role player, team player. We played for a national championship. I was a backup setter for most of my career, but it got me into the coaching profession. And then it got me into the announcing profession. And then it got me to where I mean, imagine that path had gone that way and I quit. So like LeBron, when you are in those moments, like you just brought up, and you might face this one day too, and you're looking, Chris Haynes says, "What about next year?" or something. I mean, your thought, and it is a real thought at that moment, because I've had it. That thought is, maybe it's time to walk away. I got to think about it. I mean, I'm not coaching anymore. Last year is literally I've been coaching Big Baby since I was like 18 or 19. All these years, either assisting, and then I was helping my kids' teams, or I was head coaching. Even being on TV, I still was coaching. And last year, after my little one's last tournament in volleyball, I knew I was done. I knew it, and I told my wife I'm done. And I knew it in my heart and soul that it was over. It's not that I don't miss it. It's not that I don't miss big games. I just knew it was getting harder and harder to make it all work, because I couldn't give to the team what I wanted to be able to give. It's barely there. Work was always going on. I was missing a bunch of stuff. And then I'd come in and try to be that same guy. when you're not there as much. So, when the drive is not there, it's impossible, bro, to go at that level. So for LeBron, yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it's 2 as well. If I had to bet,
yeah.
But dude, that's what I mean. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, man. He could just be. He's good when, there's two schools of thought, big baby. There's LeBron's gonna do a farewell tour in a just like Kareem, and he's got to get, everyone's got to give him his flowers and his gifts. I mean, LeBron could also be the guy that goes, yeah, I'm out.
That's true.
I'm out, but I'm going to do it. But I have my own shows and I'll tell you my thoughts. You know what I mean? Like it could go, like I said, it's me trying to guess. It's just fun to guess. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to debate. It's like Mount Rushmore or who's the GOAT and all this stuff. It's like, it's fun. It's fun to debate, but you can never,
Yeah. But yeah, man, like let's say if when Lakers make the playoffs, let's say if they lose in the first round and at the press conference, LeBron says, I'm done. I'm retired. I can't do it anymore. I think everybody won't be shocked. I won't be shocked at all. I won't.
Yeah.
To me, I won't.
Yeah, I think that's a good point by you. I don't know if I'd be shocked. I think if he did it at the press conference, that would surprise me. Mm-hmm. If it came out a month later, right before free agency or something, okay, then I would be surprised. It goes back to me talking to Coach Slatton when I was a senior in high school, 17 years old. Like, it's tough to make those emotional decisions.
Yeah,
right after a loss or a win, either way. I used to have a rule when I coached. My buddy and I had a rule that we implemented to the whole volleyball club. When parents are not allowed to approach coaches at the tournament because you're pissed off your kid's not playing. You're pissed off at something. You're heated. Man, that thing can escalate crazy. So we always had a rule, 24-hour rule. Sit on it for 24 hours. Say it was a Saturday. Call me on Monday, and we will set up a time to talk. I'll tell you, man, 80% of the time no one calls because they've calmed down. They've been able to sit, marinate on it, think about it. Mm-hmm. That's why Twitter is such a gnarly thing, man. Like I used to struggle with Twitter when I first had this job, dude, because I was emotional, man, and I wanted to go. People coming at me, I want to go, and I really had to learn like to just not respond or not even look. And then I discovered the mute button, which was the greatest thing to ever happen to Twitter, which I didn't know. I wish I would have known in the early years. I wish I would have known it in the Luke years. The Luke years, man, I had to battle people in the Luke years. That's my guy, dude. I had to stick up for my friend.
That's understandable. Yeah,
I don't know about you or where you come. You guys stick up for your people.
I understand because
what kind of man are you if you don't?
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, so now since I'm getting more in tune to the business of like media, kind of learn to not. Lakers are struggling. Just leave my phone on.
It's hard, right, big baby?
Yeah, leave it at the counter, because I got Genie Bus following me, I got all these people following me on them, so it's
big baby. I
like
had
you said, 24 hours.
I think I had this talk with you a few years ago. Like, you got to be careful.
Yep.
What you tweet emotionally, because if you do want to cover the team, and by the way, whatever your shtick is that you want, maybe you want to be the fan that just goes, "Hey, I'm going to be," or you want to be, like you said, if you want people to come to you for information or come to you because they want to hear what you have to say, then you have to be able to look at every side, because every single team in the league hates their rotations, hates when their coach calls timeouts, gets upset when guys don't make threes and they want them traded. Like, it's every single franchise. It's hard for us to understand that, but it is true. Steve Kerr and I used to laugh about it. Like, I remember when the Warriors were winning chips, dude. They were the best team by far. People on Twitter would be losing their mind in the fourth quarter because Steph wasn't in the game. And Steve always put him in around the 6:30 mark or the 60. He had his thing. And it would just be like, yeah, Steve Kerr should be fired. I'm like, really? Like, dude, like, thank God Twitter wasn't around when Phil was coaching the Shaq and Kobe days.
Oh, man.
Phil would just sit here like this, and we'd be down 15, and he would just sit there and let them figure it out. I'd be going, Phil, call timeout. Phil, call time. By the way, he doesn't care what I'm saying.
Yeah, Phil knows what he was doing with those timeouts.
Dude, Phil's the GOAT. Phil's the GOAT for me.
Yeah, speaking of Mount Rushmore, man, we're going to dive into Mount Rushmore. Who is your Mount Rushmore of sports broadcasters of all time?
Oh, bro. Put me on the spot. I got to really think about that one. Chick Hearn, Vin Scully.
Mm.
I'm going to go Bob Miller. I'm going to go in all LA, homie.
Yeah.
God, that's tough. Big baby. See, I grew up on those three, so they're the GOATs for me.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many. Dick Enberg, Al Michaels, Bob Costas. Like that fourth spot, I got to do some research and get back to you. I'm putting those three because those are like our people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you grew up in this town, you know how lucky. Like, go talk to a friend of yours that lives somewhere else, and they'll be like, "Dude, you guys had the same broadcasters for the same Dodgers broadcaster for 60 years, the same Lakers broadcaster for X amount of years." You know, Chick came here and it was the only guy we knew until the 2000s, right? Like Bob Miller for the Kings. So those three to me, 100% go on the Mount Rushmore. I might put Costas up there.
Yeah.
I might put Costas for just being able to have the ability to host the Olympics, to do play-by-play for the NBA, to do an NBA Finals, to do play-by-play for a World Series, to do play-by-play for a Super Bowl. You know, Joe Buck is in that category. Guys who can do it all. It's pretty incredible, man. And he can host like the Olympics. What?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Al Michaels is up there for one of my football goats for sure. I love Al Michaels. You know, funny. I talked to Joe Buck one time. I did an interview with Joe Buck. And Joe Buck is hilarious, dude. And he told me, Geeter, I'm hated by half America. He goes, listen, we were doing this intimate setting. I did a Q&A with him for like an hour. It was awesome in front of like 50 people. It was so cool. And he was like, listen, when I call a game, say I'm calling the World Series, the Royals fans hate me because they think I'm a Cardinals guy. And then the Dodger fans hate me because they think I'm cheering for the Royals. And then you go on Twitter and you see it. It's the funniest thing in the world. Like, the one team thinks he's a homer for the other. The other team thinks he's a homer for the. That's why play-by-play and all that stuff, it's so hard to be great at it. And what makes people great is their ability to have those conversations where people like love you, hate you, know you're like the best. Just know how to do it, man. They know how to like lay out in the right moments. Like Vince Scully, when Kirk Gibson hit that home run, Game 1, 1988, my senior year of high school. Gibby hits the bomb against Eckersley and the A's, one of the greatest upsets in the history of the World Series. We smashed them 4-1. Gibby hits that home run in the year of the impossible. The improbable has happened, Vin says. And Vin and Gibby is running around second base doing the pumpernickel, and Vin just lays it out. Vin just lays it out, and not a word, man, is spoken for. He's rounding first, he's going around second, he's coming around third, and then he goes in the note. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened, right?
Yep.
Like, Vin says that after like, I don't know how many seconds of laying out. That's GOAT. That's GOAT. You go watch the Shaq lob, Kobe to Shaq, Game 7, Western Conference Finals, 2000. Big Baby's a young little kid. Kobe throws the lob to put us up 6 in the final minute. And dude, you got to hear, I mean, Chick's call of that about sending. There'll be no champagne on the Portland plane. It's milk and cookies. I mean, it's stuff. It's just that stuff is genius, bro.
Yeah, I started watching Lakers in the early 2000s, Kings and Lakers series when Robert Horry hit that shot. That's when I
2001, brother. Excuse me, 2002. 2002.
That's why I fell in love with the Lakers, because me and my grandma, my brother Anthony, we were watching the game on the
best.
couch, and I was just chilling there watching. Okay, Shaq's good and dominating, Kobe doing his thing, and then when Horry hit that shot, I'm like, I love this team.
Big Shot's great. He's the greatest guy, dude.
Yeah, because that was my first time ever watching Laker game. Was that game right there, that playoff game? I was like, no, I'm gonna fall in love with this team, and I did,
bro. That'll hook you.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably, I was 9 years old when Magic was a rookie, and I remember that game, and I remember him being my hero from that moment on.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in college. I had my Magic posters up on the wall, like. Yeah. I rode with Magic till the end, man. Yeah. Who are your broadcasters on the Mount Rushmore?
Oof. Broadcaster, yeah, Chick Hearn. The history the Lakers talk about. That's tough too.
Yeah, it's tough, right? You got to think about it, don't you?
Yeah, put me on the spot too.
Now you got to do some research and get back to me.
Yeah, I got you. I'll give it 24 hours. But yes, check Hearn. I agree with your list.
Yeah, then for sure.
Yeah, and real quick, describe Kobe Bryant in one word.
Mamba.
Mamba.
I mean, dedicated. There's so many words you can use.
Yeah.
Relentless. Winner. GOAT. He truly, like, I don't know, for me, like, I feel now on Instagram, I see videos of him every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's unreal. I send them to my kids all the time because they're very inspirational, but it also comes with a lot of sadness for me because I feel like we got cheated. We got it taken from us.
Mm-hmm.
And, who's ever been through loss, I think, I've been through it a lot the last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 3 people in my family pass, and that's been brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of Kobe and just the way, obviously, Gigi and the 7 other people, and you can't even like wrap your head around that. But, Kobe for me, like, just so you have a little history, I'm a huge Laker fan growing up, obviously the Kobe era. And then all of a sudden, 2006, I start covering the team a little bit. I'm always on the visitor sideline, was never on but I'm at the games, a lot of the games. And, it's like, I'm like a pig in shit, bro. I'm so happy, dude. I'm at Laker games, like getting paid. So I'm such a fan. Luke was a really good friend of mine, and Jordan Farmar. So like, I'm like, this is unbelievable. I'll never forget 2008. This is how my relationship with Kobe started. 2008. I'm announcing the Olympic beach volleyball in Beijing, China. Lifelong dream. Check that off the box. Big baby, just like you've been doing. Here I am at the Olympics. And there was another announcer. He was a Swiss guy. Tom from Switzerland. And he would sometimes announce, and I would take a break. So I get word that Kobe and some of the dream teams coming over to watch Kerry Walsh and Misty May. And I'm like, Tom, you're announcing this game. Like, Tom didn't have a choice, bro. And I found out what room they were going to be in. Big baby, you talk about like manifesting something or putting yourself in position or making something happen. I told Tom he was announcing. I walked down into this room that was sand level in this arena where they were doing the Olympics in Beijing. And I waited. And Kobe and 5 other guys, it was like Boozer came with him, CP3, trying to remember who else. I rolled right in. And Nico was his guy. Nico from Nike was his guy. Nico was with him. And St. John Smith, great volleyball player who was helping run the tournament, walked him in. So St. John's like, oh, this is Geeter. And I'm like, he does. I was like, oh, yeah, I do Lakers, blah, blah. And we just like, I just took my chance, bro. Like, he sat down to watch, and he was dialed in on Misty and Kerry. And we just start talking. And we do a little Laker talk. Like, I told him I thought he was coming off one of the greatest seasons I'd ever seen in a Laker uniform. And it was true. He had the MVP. We lost to Boston in the finals. But he had one of the greatest individual seasons I'd ever seen. So I think he appreciated me chatting him up a little bit. And then he started chatting me up and asking all kinds of questions about Kerry and Misty and why they were so great. I mean, this guy was dialed in. So I started going back and forth, and dude, we hung out, big baby, for about an hour and 15 minutes. It was the most unbelievable, surreal moment in my life. So 2 days later, I hear he's coming again. What do you think your boy does? Tom,
down there. Yep.
Tom, you're announcing, Tom. I get down there, hang out again. Okay. Now comes to the semifinal match. He went to the semifinal match, and he's in the crowd this time. And I'm in the sand, and I'm yelling to there's 20,000 people. And I pointed at him. He points. And I point to him, and I just keep going on with my shtick. And fast forward, this is a true story. That was August, okay? About August 15th, 16th, okay? Fast forward to November of 2008. I get assigned my first Laker game of the season, probably 10 games into the season. And I always knew which way Kobe kind of came in and which way he walked in the tunnel. And I just happened to be walking at that time because I was there, you're there super early. And I'll never forget, like, going, I wonder if he'll remember me. I'm walking, dude, we are far apart. Cameras are always following him. A couple people. He's like, my G. And I was like, go. And we like come together. Dude, hugs me. He's like, bro, you finally got out of that hot sun. I saw some of your work this summer. And I was like, greatest moment ever. That was 2008, right? Started to get to know him a little bit. So then in 2010, when I traveled with the team for the playoffs, it was just super cool because I was around him. I got to see how he worked. I had some intimate moments with him, some conversations. Never like we had before in Beijing, but he'd always ask how I was doing all through the rest of his career. One of the highlights for me is 2010. I covered an NBA Finals, and I had the badge and everything, and I got to travel on the team plane, and I got to go to the whole playoffs. Well, I was the road guy, so when it was a home game, Patrick O'Neill covered it for Fox Sports. So I had my badge. So game 6 and 7, I'm rolling with Lakers, right?
Yep.
And I'm there as a fan with my badge. So game 7, we win. And dude, the locker room, Big Baby, was as crowded as I have ever seen it. And the line to get in, it was mass hysteria, dude. The media, people's family members. I had Luke's girlfriend, 2 brothers, and the mom with me, Susie Walden. So I brought him up to the front of the line, and I looked at Michael Roth, who was, runs Staple at the time. I'm like, Michael, the Waltons. Boom. So I get in. I have my badge. I get in, and true story, there's a side room with food and stuff off the locker room. And I go, Luke takes me back there. Dude, true story. Me, Luke, D. Fish and his wife, Kobe and Vanessa were the only people in that room. Right after a game 7 title for like 15 minutes. And I wasn't like, hey, Kobe, but it was just an amazing, like, dude, the GOAT was sitting right here.
Yep.
And then, him hugging us, hugged me, the final moment of, I don't know if you even want these stories. You could edit them out, but I'm just giving them to you.
No, you're good. That's good stories, man.
So his last year, I wanted my kids to see Kobe play live. So I took him to the Knicks game at home. I knew he'd be playing. Remember, he was missing a lot of games trying to make the finish line. I knew he'd play the Knicks. So I asked my boss for the day off. And we go down there. Luca's really little, so she's with my wife in the arms. Millie's about when did Kobe retire? 16? Yeah, 16.
Yeah, 16,
Yeah. So Millie's 9, almost 10. So we're standing under the basket. I take her to stand under the basket. Kobe's shooting a free throw. And he looks at me and he realizes that I'm not working that day and that I have my kid with me. And he throws her a pass. She catches it. She throws it back to him. He hits the bucket. Fast forward a month, end of the season, final game. He walks around and hugs everyone. And I gave him a hug. I didn't think anything of it. We went on air for 2 hours. Then everyone stuck around for an hour. It's like 1 a.m. And I'm leaving with Jamie Maggio. And we're going up the ramp together out of Staples. And B. Moore, who you met the other night, Brandon B. Moore, our producer, was there, called and goes, dude, Kobe's on the court. Jamie and I sprint back down. And you've seen pictures of this, Kobe's final time on the court, and he goes around and hugs all the media. All the media members come out. There's like 50 of us, 40 of us. He goes to each one. And everyone's just kind of taking a turn. It was a trip. And he talked to everybody, Stu, everybody. And he got to me, and he's like, we'll always have Beijing. And he remembered that. And I said, Kobe, I said, hey, I haven't said this to you, but I just want to thank you. That day I had my daughter. He knew exactly what I was talking about. The day I had my daughter, you threw her a pass. I'll never forget that. And he was like, he goes, I got you. That was pretty amazing. And then the last time I ever saw him, and I posted this picture recently. This is super cool. It was when he had his jerseys retired. I did a 30-minute sit down with him. And when you did a sit down with Kobe, you didn't know, you went in always really nervous because like if Kobe's ready to talk, this is going to be the greatest interview ever, and he's going to carry you. But if you're not on your A game or he's got a lot to do, then you got to be, it was just nerve wracking. It's Kobe. He's always so good. When I sat down with him, I always appreciated that. He was so good in this interview. It was my last interview with him ever. And he found out he got nominated for an Oscar that day. I was there when he got the call. He was so stoked. And the last picture of the great Andy Bernstein, the NBA photographer, I'm walking down the Laker hallway, and we were talking about our daughters in volleyball. His oldest daughter, Talia, was playing volleyball. And he was talking to me about like her going from middle blocker to outside. And we were literally having a conversation. And that's the last time I ever saw him. That's the picture.
Dang. That was amazing.
Some pretty amazing moments, right?
Yeah, and speaking of amazing moments for me with Kobe, he actually followed me on Twitter.
I remember that.
Yeah, he followed me on Twitter, and me and him had a conversation and stuff, and one of the best conversations I've experienced with Kobe.
Did you have it on direct message?
Yeah.
No way. What were you saying? Like, hey, like what?
I just said, keep up the great work, bro. Get back healthy. And he said, big baby, keep doing your thing. I see you, bro.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
man, you say that for life.
Yeah. Every time I like I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
I look at my phone. I'm like, hell no, you're going to get up and you're going to go do a fucking show right now. Kobe Bryant would be on your ass right now if he heard you talking like that. So,
bro, I know the feeling.
Yeah. So that's what
I know the
keeps
feeling.
Me going, man. Like
that's cool.
I look
what a great story.
Yeah. Look at that every single time. I feel like, I don't feel like doing this. Nope. You're going to go. You're going to do a show. You're going to sit on it. And then, so I keep looking at that every time I feel those moments, man.
Great story, brother.
Yeah, man. Geeter, man, it's been amazing with all the cool stories, man. Go ahead and give your plug so they can go follow you on your social media.
It's the headphone issue is the only thing that rattled me in this show. Besides that, I had a great time.
Yeah,
throwing these in the trash. Yeah, bro. At Geeter 3, I don't tweet much anymore, big baby. But I actually tweeted the other night for a little bit during the game. But follow me on Instagram. I'm a lot more active, Geeter 3. But I'm still on Twitter. I'll always be Geeter 3.
Geeter 3, and it's been your boy, Big Baby.
Big Baby. Later, brother.